Good afternoon and welcome back to Circuit Zandvoort and the feature race of the Zandvoort Summer Trophy. It's round 15 of the Wera Tools British F4 Championship, certified by the FIA. The cars have been released from the pit lane and are heading towards the grid for the third race of the weekend here in the Netherlands, and the race that is set from the fastest laps in qualifying that we had yesterday morning and the longest race of the weekend at 25 minutes. We had a dramatic reverse grid race this morning, which saw that vehicle, the safety car, quite a few times for incidents. But it was Ethan Lennon who took his second victory of the season. George Proudford-Nalder made strong moves to finish second, and Alba Larsen scored her first podium in the British F4 Championship and became the 19th different driver in 2026 to finish in those podium positions. Dries van Langendonck this weekend, after winning yesterday, has taken the lead of the championship and is 20 points clear now of Lewis Wherrell, and he's got every opportunity to extend the lead, or his championship lead, in the 25-minute race coming up here at Zandvoort. John Munro with me. It's going to be an intriguing race.
It certainly is. Hello everyone, good afternoon and welcome to the final race of the weekend for the British F4 Championship. And it's unfortunately been plagued by quite a few safety cars this weekend, as you alluded to. We've had a couple of interrupted races, which is just putting a lot of emphasis on those early laps. But those few green flag laps we've had have been very exciting to watch. We saw great moves in the previous race, didn't we, from George Proudford-Nalder specifically to pick up that P2. But it was two great restarts from Ethan Lennon that resulted in his second victory of the season. Did actually hear from him after the race. He was asked about those safety car restarts, whether he knew that if he just slowed down a little bit, he wouldn't have actually had to race that final lap. And Ethan's response was, yeah, he just fancied a little extra scrap at the end, which I thought was great to hear. So, and obviously he was fine. He had the confidence to get that good restart and was able to drive away and win as Proudford-Nalder took second place off of Alba Larsen. Thankfully for the young Dane, though, Larsen secured her first podium and got an excellent P3 in that second race. She'll be going off of P9 in this third and final race for the weekend. So a good starting spot, and 25 minutes of action means we should see plenty more green flag racing to come. There's a few changes as well to the qualifying order from the provisional qualifying result based on some incidents in the previous race. So a 3-place grid drop for Lewis Wherrell, our championship contender, also a 3-place drop for Alfie Slater and Tommy Harfield too.
Yeah, Lewis Wherrell's race weekend just does not get any better, does it? In the testing and practice sessions on Thursday and Friday, he was further down the order than he would have liked after taking those 3 victories before the summer break, winning twice at Snetterton and once at Silverstone. But this weekend just hasn't gone to plan. He qualified much further down than he would like. He's been involved in incidents, and now he's got penalties to go on top of all of that. So it's not an away trip to the coast that Lewis Wherrell had in plan.
Certainly not, and it seems to get worse and worse with time, doesn't it? Because we said during qualifying it wasn't the best session for Lewis, following such strong results in the previous few rounds, and then every single race something's not gone to plan. So he's just going to have to chalk this one off. Obviously, one more opportunity here to make some moves, but it's much more difficult to score points starting 17th than it would have been if he was starting in 14th where he qualified. And of course, 25 minutes is plenty of time, but you do need to get into that top 10 to score points. We have a very similar, or exactly the same point system for this race as you see in Formula 1. So 25 points for the race winner, going all the way down to P10, scoring 1 point. And it means that Lewis is going to have to pass 6 or 7 cars even to just be in with a chance of a point in this one. Also a point for fastest lap too, so that's on the cards. But Lewis hasn't quite had the outright pace of some of our leaders this weekend either, so it's going to be tough for him, but I'm sure he'll bounce back.
Yes, he'll certainly be hoping to, as the championship rejoins the Toka package in a couple of weeks' time at Thruxton. This round at Zandvoort brings us to the halfway point in the championship, being round 15 of 30, and then there are 5 events to go, all at Toka events supporting the British Touring Car Championship, all bar the Knock Hill rounds, all the British rounds that remain within the BTCC, Thruxton, Donington Park, Croft, Silverstone and Brands Hatch for the finale, all still to come. So there's a lot to play for in this championship. a good weekend has also been had by Theo Palmer, who finished second yesterday. He was 7th earlier, and that has moved him into 3rd in the championship, just ahead of Ethan Jeff Hall, with Scott Lindblom not far behind. So a real battle going on for 3rd in the championship. But Theo Palmer has been having an excellent weekend with that podium yesterday.
Certainly, and it kind of sums up high-tech season, really. There's been a lot of consistency from Theo Palmer, Scott Kin Lindblom, Adam Al-Azhari as well, taking up some great results at Brands Hatch, but also reliably on the pace, and of course Chiara Bättig as well. So high-tech are actually leading the team standings despite not winning a single race yet this season. Perhaps that could change today. Theo Palmer almost won a race yesterday. He almost won a race at Donington, but this time we've got Scott Kin Lindblom going off of the front row. So the Swede in that Red Bull liveried machine will be looking to take his first win of the season. Al-Azhari a little bit further back, starting this one. Where is Al-Azhari starting this one, actually? He's not too far back. He's right about the midfield in 16th place, so near Lewis Wherrell. High-tech, showing their consistency, yet to win a race. Could today be that day? They're going to have to beat Dries van Langendonck if they're going to make that happen.
McLaren and Red Bull on the front row. We've seen that before, have we not? But it's the Belgium driver, Dries van Langendonck, there on pole position. His second top qualifying of the season, and alongside the Red Bull liveried car of Scott Kin Lindblom, the Swedish drivers, both 15 years of age, 2 of the youngest drivers on the grid, on the front row.
Yeah, certainly, and plenty of young drivers in the field today. Not the first time we've also seen a Red Bull and McLaren livery side by side on that front row this weekend, because the Ginetta Junior Championship, which is also here, also had those 2 brands represented.
And it is Dries van Langendonck on pole then, alongside Scott Kin Lindblom. On row 2, we have Ethan Jeff Hall, a Mercedes-backed driver, alongside him, Theo Palmer. Jaber Al-Sabah starts 5th, alongside Cameron Nelson, who so nearly got his first overall podium earlier today, but was a rookie winner. George Proudford-Nalder starts 7th, alongside Ethan Carney. Alba Larsen, who got her first podium this morning, she's 9th, alongside what will now be Ethan Lennon because of Tommy Harfield's penalty. Matej Kobakhidze is next, then Jarrett Clark. Lewis Wherrell's got a penalty, so Cash Falber, in fact, will start 14th now, alongside Joseph Smith. Then Adam Al-Azhari comes next. Then Lewis Wherrell will be slotted in. Roman Felber starts 18th. Kit Belofsky will start in P19 with Chiara Bättig alongside him. Lubo Ryakov starts 21st with Henry Mercier alongside. Emma Felbermayr will start 23rd with actually Leon Headforth alongside because Alfie Slater's got a penalty. Timo Jungling is next alongside Cole Hewitson. Then Slater will be slotted in. Hani Sadiq starts in 28th. Ella Lloyd is next alongside Jackson Walney. And Daniela Sutton starts 31st alongside Sun and Z to make a 32-car grid, the largest grid size we've seen in the British Championship. It was started at Silverstone, this 32-car grid, and it's been replicated here at Zandvoort Circuit. But it is Dries van Langendonck on pole position as they make their way towards the grid for round 15 of the championship.
Yeah, we're just hearing as well that Matej Kobakhidze has made the start, we believe, in XL, because he had an incident in the previous race and they were working on that car until literally seconds before the cars went down pit lane. So great job from XL Motorsport to get that car out there. And Matej Kobakhidze, who started the previous race on pole, should take his grid position here in P11.
Okay, so we'll look for that, and hopefully the car is all straight, because obviously working on the car so late, there's no time to align everything back up to where it should be. Quite remarkable to have the 3 of the 4 main Formula 1 teams having junior drivers on the first 3 positions in the British Championship, isn't it? McLaren's Dries van Langendonck, Red Bull Scott Kin Lindblom, and Mercedes Ethan Jeff Hall. Great to see the Formula 1 team supporting the young drivers racing in the Wera British Formula 4 Championship. Dries van Langendonck then starts there on pole position. He will have to wait for 31 other competitors to line up behind him. You can see him having a look in the mirror just to have an idea when the race will be starting, because everything will be just cooling off a little bit. He doesn't want to start going through the start procedure too early. It's so easy then to burn a clutch out and cause yourself more problems than what is necessary. So he shall wait for the rest of the competitors to come into place. We're not too far away from that now, though, and he will be focusing on making a strong start, something that was perhaps a weak spot for Dries, but he's certainly put that behind him now. He's had some good starts here at Zandvoort and at recent races in 2026 as well. So, round 15 of the Wera Tools British F4 Championship certified by FIA, the third leg of the Tour to Zandvoort. And 25 minutes on the clock begins as the race gets underway. There's one or two that don't get away terribly well. Van Langendonck's got away well, though. He's pulled across ahead of Lindblom, but round the outside of him comes Ethan Jeff Hall on the wide line, the high line round the banked corner, but he just gets squeezed out up over the curb. So Lindblom remains in second. Third is Jeff Hall, with Theo Palmer in fourth. So at the sharp end, it's in grid order as they turn their way through Hugenholt for the first time. Dries van Langendonck, just like yesterday, leads the way as they head up through turns 4, 5 and 6, absolutely flat out.
Well behaved there as well, and it definitely looked like Jeff Hall got forced out wide on the exit of the first corner, but managed to just about hold on to third ahead of Theo Palmer. It was a poor getaway for Jaber Alsaba as well in the XL car, but he actually managed to recover fairly well, and I think he still sits inside that top 6, so good recovery potentially from Alsaba. Just need to see the results. There he is in front of the rodent of Ethan Lennon, so maybe drop back a few spots actually, but we'll see how this all unfolds as we head towards the end of the first lap. Looking clean and good so far, and it's a great start for Championship leader Van Langendonck.
Yeah, that's right. There's certainly some battles towards the rear of the top 10 going on. We saw a very good pace yesterday from Theo Palmer, so he will be looking to gain position. You can see the slower start in Alsaba trying to gain some of them positions back. A lock up for Jeff Hall as they go through the S-bend under pressure from Theo Palmer as they turn their way out of 12 and up to 13. But Van Langendonck is gapping the back now, which is something we have seen so many times in Formula 4 races before. So Van Langendonck for Rodin Motorsport and McLaren lead the way at the end of the first lap of 25 minutes of racing around the Zandvoort circuit. In second place is Lindblom. Third is Jeff Hall. Fourth is Palmer. Up into fifth place has come Cameron Nelson, having his best weekend of the year. Sixth is George Proudford-Nalder. We know he's good at making moves. Alshabar's recovered to seventh, ahead of Ethan Lennon, as you suggested, although Lennon's made good progress, therefore, from his starting position. Ethan Carney and Alba Larsen complete the top 10.
A couple of slow-moving cars towards the back of the field as well, off the line. We saw maybe in one of the Virtuosi cars, Joseph Smith, who got a poor start as well. So he's down in P30. No Alfie Slater and Jarrett Clark as well, from what we can see. So a couple of drivers falling into issues early on here. You can see there just how close Cameron Nelson is having to defend now from the charging George Proudford-Nalder. We saw him make moves earlier. He was delighted with how his car was feeling in race trim. Can he make more moves in this race? He's up against a firing Cameron Nelson, though. Of course, the Welshman having one of his best weekends of the season, and is the leading JHR developments driver in this race, which hasn't been the case too often with teammates such as Lewis Wherrell and Timo Jungling to deal with. So it's been a great start for Cameron, but he's under pressure now, though, from Proudford-Nalder.
Both Slater and Clark have made their way back into the pit lane, so it's not going to cause a problem for everyone else's race, but damaged cars and maybe involved with Joseph Smith too, who dropped to the back. You can see there the car of Jarrett Clark, the British Aussie, who's out seemingly of this final race of the weekend, and Alfie Slater down there as well. But about to... Oh, we're going to get a safety car. So safety car is coming out. So that must be for a separate reason. On this second lap, there has been an incident through Sector 2 between Hani Sadiq and Ella Lloyd. So we've lost... Lloyd's got back going, but at the back. So Hani Sadiq seemingly is missing, who I don't think actually made the start of the earlier race. So it's been a bad Sunday here at Zandvoort for the Pakistan racer. So that means safety car out at the end of lap 2.
Yep. And that's the third time we've seen that this weekend. So it's been this way a lot of the time, and the drivers will be used to this by now, getting a couple of good green flag laps under their belt, and then unfortunately we've seen another safety car. Not sure what's caused that just yet. Looks like Luboslav Roykov's in the pits as well, so I wonder if he was involved. It's been a bit of a challenging few races for Roykov today. Roykov did get a 5-second penalty in the previous race for jumping the start, which dropped him right down to the back of the field, because of course there was a late safety car which bunched everyone together. But it's still been a promising weekend for the young Bulgarian in his debut in the series. I think he's shown good pace, he's shown good racecraft as well, and he's been right in the thick of the battle. So despite a potentially disappointing end here, it has been a good start for Luboslav.
Ella Lloyd has completed the lap and therefore will be able to race her way back up to the back of the queue. This season in general hasn't gone the way that Ella Lloyd would have hoped for after some strong races in the past. She was a podium finisher in British F4 last year. She was 4th in the F1 Academy last season, the McLaren Driver Development Programme. 20-year-old Welsh woman and a BRDC rising star as well. But 2026 so far for Ella Lloyd hasn't quite gone the way, I think, as was expected. So Royakov's gone back out of the pit, so he'll be able to get to the back of the queue. That's not the case for Slater and Clark. They've remained in the pit, so more damage than a front wing change. Really, it's not much more than a front wing change can be done quickly in one of these cars.
Yeah, I think I may have saw a car in the gravel as well there at the top of Skivlak. So potentially that was where we had our incident, and that would check out with the second sector. I may have been wrong, so don't quote me on this one, but I do think I might have seen a car stranded in the gravel trap, which could well be Harney Sadiq. So we'll keep an eye out on the recovery for that. But yes, as you said, Ella Lloyd, not the best of seasons so far. She's not done every round, of course, but she did have a good result at Doddington earlier in the season. I think it's just a testament to how competitive this championship's gotten, though, over the last year or so, with 32 cars in the field. You know, we've seen the likes of Tommy Harfield, who had a really good result last season, struggling, and there is that car, by the way, at the top of Skivlak. So that is your number 12, which is indeed Harney Sadiq. So unfortunately, the JHR driver has met the barrier on the outside of the very fast turn 7. But yeah, Ella Lloyd, very talented, but so are so many of the drivers in this field. And with this many cars, if you don't quite nail your qualifying laps, you can be mired further down the field. And especially with Ella not doing a full season, it's going to be difficult to jump back in and be right on the pace. But we know how quick she can be. Hopefully she'll bounce back in future rounds.
I think she's doing Fruxton, and then he's going back to focusing on F1 Academy after that. Which is the same story for the likes of Emma Felbermayr and Alba Larsen. They're both doing Zandvoort as a sort of a preparation for the support race at the Dutch Grand Prix next month. But safety car remains out for a further lap. There's 18 minutes on the clock as it stands. This is lap 4 of the race, and it is Dries van Langendonck and Rodin Motorsport that lead. The 15-year-old McLaren Driver Development member leads the way, the Formula Winter Series champion from the early months of this season. He was a winner in the British Championship last year, and he's a world and European karting champion, Dries van Langendonck. Second is Scott Kin Lindblom, the high-tech driver, the 15-year-old Swede, who is a Red Bull junior. He was a front runner in the UAE 4 Championship in the winter months. He was third in the Saudi Arabian Formula 4 Championship too, and was 4th in the Ginetta Junior Championship last year. Ginetta's sharing this weekend at Zandvoort with British F4. 9 graduates from that championship are on the F4 grid today. Recovery still ongoing, so I think we're going to have another lap after this of safety car. In third place is Ethan Jeff Hall, who is 17, British driver from Lancaster. He's a McLaren AMG junior and a BRDC rising star. He finished 5th in the championship last year. He was the Ginetta Junior champion 2 years ago and former FIA World Karting champion too. Theo Palmer in 4th position for High Tech. He has UAE and GB nationality. He raced in the championship last year and was a front runner in the Formula Trophy UAE last season. So lots of these drivers have raced in other Formula 4 base championships around the globe, particularly in those winter months in preparation for the British Championship. In 5th place is Cameron Nelson, the JHR Developments driver from Cardiff. He's a former British junior karting race winner. Then in 6th position is George Proudford-Nalder, the 17-year-old Australian for Virtuosi. He was a podium finisher in the Formula Winter Series in the early months of the year. He was 7th in Ginetta Juniors last year, and he was the winner of the BRDC International Trophy, which returned after a few decades at the last round. Great that Silverstone chose the British F4 Championship to be the return of that event. We've seen so many Formula One world champions win that event, and particularly for George, he was following in the footsteps of Mark Webber and Jack Brabham, who had won the BRDC International Trophy in the past as fellow Australian drivers, and winning in a prestigious race like that as sort of the headline race of the season, it is quite the achievement. And in particular, what was a very exciting race, he went side by side with Lewis Wherrell on the very last lap of the race to take that race with victory.
Not a bad roll call, is it? of names to be alongside to win that trophy, and I think it's kind of lifted him, to be honest. He seems light on his feet this weekend, does Proudford-Nalder. We heard from him after that second race. He was delighted with the car's pace. He's got confidence. Of course, he did start from pole position in the opening race at Silverstone as well, but didn't get off the line properly, and then he had a similar issue the first race here at Zandvoort yesterday. So it's not been great off the line for Proudford-Nalder, but his restarts under safety car conditions have been great. So he'll be hoping for more of the same here. He'll be hoping to put more pressure on Cameron Nelson just up in front. You're mentioning Ethan Jeff Hall earlier as well. Of course, there's your three sort of Formula One team backed drivers, so to speak, with Van Langendonck donning the McLaren colours, Kin Lindblom with Red Bull, and Jeff Hall with the Mercedes backing as well, even though that Argenti Motorsport car is, of course, liveried just like every other Argenti Motorsport car in the blue and black colour. So look out for Ethan Jeff Hall. He was a contender early on in the season. I think he actually took the championship lead briefly earlier on with his consistency, and he took a race victory as well in the opening couple of rounds. But since then, it's been a little bit quieter for him. He's struggled to really break through into the podium. He's spent a lot of time kind of mired in that 5th to 10th position mark, but it looks like Jeff Hall's found a little bit more form again this weekend, sitting third in this third and final race at Zandvoort. So he'll be looking to kind of kickstart the second half of his season with a good result here. It's not been a good day today, unfortunately, for Virtuosi, with Jarrett Clark, of course, in the pits. We had Joseph Smith with issues earlier, and there is Jarrett Clark still having that car being worked on. So it's been a bit of a disastrous race for the Virtuosi outfit. And one more update as well from pit lane. It looks like Luboslav Roykov was able to get back out and not lose a lap. So we do believe Roykov has joined the back of this field now, or is about to catch the back of the field in the 77 Argenti, and will be able to take this restart and fight his way forward from 29th.
Safety car in then at the end of this lap. There'll be about 13 and a half minutes to go when the race resumes. Yesterday, when Dries van Langendonck he went early. He's gone even earlier than he went yesterday, I think, before they got to turn 13, and he's jumped the pack again to a great restart from Dries van Langendonck. The McLaren Junior will lead the way at the end of 5 laps of round 15 of the Wera Tools British F4 Championship. In second place, Scott Lindblom has got Ethan Jeff Hall going after him up towards Tarzan Corner. There's a challenge on for 5th position. Cameron Nelson under threat from George Proudford-Nalder, who was so good at restarts this morning in the reverse grid race. Tries to go around the outside, cuts back out of the corner, but it looks like Cameron Nelson has been able to remain in 5th position as they turn their way through 2 into 3 at Hugenholt, where Dries van Langendonck heads the pack. He was half a second clear at the restart. Now Scott Kin Lindblom is going after him again.
I love watching these cars fire through Hugenholtz, getting their tyres up to temperature, and just the light agility of these cars as well is great to see. But it looks like it's pretty much status quo on this restart. And speaking of George Proudford-Nalder, who was looking the most racy in the back of Nelson, he continues to look racy, but he's actually compromised his exit there slightly as they head towards Masters Box. So he will now fall under a little bit of pressure from the slow starting Jabber Al-Sabah, who will be looking to recover back into the top 5. A little bit of a lock up in the distance there from our race leader, Dries van Langendonck. So still getting a little bit of temperature into those tyres. He'll need to be careful and protect them, something that Kin Lindblom was very keen to do more of after the opening race this weekend. So tyre management will be a factor here with 12 and a half minutes to go. We just hope to see some consecutive green flag laps, and of course these drivers will be hoping for exactly the same as well.
Yeah, these cars tend to be quite prone to locking up, particularly when you're turning and braking. You'll see that a lot at Thruxton in a couple of weeks' time as they slow down for the chicanes there. They lock up a lot at Thruxton, and we've seen that a bit here at Zandvoort as well. It didn't really compromise Van Langendonck's lap, has it? He's pulling away from Scott Lindblom, but he is under threat now from even Jeff Hall as they turn their way through Harry Lyondike and accelerate their way up across the line. It's a big slipstreaming opportunity here for Ethan Jeff Hall. There's a battle going on for 7th as well between Al-Shabar and Lennon, but looking to Jeff Hall around the outside of Lindblom. He challenges, breaks late, but he tried to go around the outside of Lindblom here once already. That didn't work, and it's even worse this time. He's been fired into the gravel trap. He's back on again. Did he not learn his lesson the first time when Lindblom didn't leave him much room? Even less room was left this time, and even Jeff Hall has lost several positions because of it. In some ways, though, Johnny's lucky not to be out the race, because I thought he was ending up in the barriers.
Well, I wouldn't speak too soon because I don't know if he was just slow to recover there, or maybe he did actually clip the barrier. I couldn't quite tell. It didn't look like it, did it? So maybe Ethan Jeff Hall just taking a little bit of time to get back up to speed. But unfortunately, I was just talking about how he's looking to bounce back in this championship battle, and he's going to score a few points here today. Even if he has a great race from this point onwards, the pack being so closely matched, I don't think Jeff Hall's going to be able to easily pick up all of those positions again, even if the car is undamaged. So a real shame for him there. We did see a couple of battles there on the pit straight as well going on behind. It did look like Alsabat and Lennon were side by side, crossing the line just 200s between them. We've now got a yellow flag through turn 5 and turn 7, so that's heading into Skivlak where we saw the previous incident, and the safety car, unfortunately, Josh, is back out again, so perhaps a car off in turn 5 or indeed turn 7 once again.
And it's Emma Felbermayr, I think. So Emma Felbermayr hasn't come through the first sector. A race winner at Silverstone last weekend at the British Grand Prix. But safety car again, seemingly for the Emma Felbermayr car. We'll see if we can get a view of that in a moment. But second safety car, what's about the fourth of the day? It's not been quite what I think we'd hoped for. And it's not just Emma Felbermayr, because Daniela Sutton has been caught up in that as well. They weren't battling for position, so I think Felbermayer's had a moment, and they're further back. Daniela Sutton has got caught up in that, I'm afraid. Sutton's already out of the car. Emma Felbermayr is jumping out of that machine as well now. Those of you who have got long memories and watch sports car racing, she is running in a kind of livery that her dad and her granddad raced Porsches in for Proton, the Felbermayr colours. Unfortunately, hasn't quite gone to plan, but a third-generation racer is Emma Felbermayr. Her father still races in the European Le Mans Series with her brother, so I wonder if that's going to be a dad and two siblings race at Le Mans, I think, to come. You'd kind of think so, but her grandfather as well was a great sports car racer, Horst Felbermayr Sr., father Horst Felbermayr Jr., and it's a great family lineage, the Felbermayrs, and Emma's been having a really good season in the F1 Academy, where she sits second in points, had that one at Silverstone, but a high-speed incident I think this will have been, because it's not actually at turn 7, is it? It's between 5 and 6, which is really reaching top speeds in these cars.
We've seen plenty of occasions this weekend already where cars have run side by side through turn 5, which is that little left-hand kink just coming out of 3 and 4. So it's a very fast part of the track, and you can run too wide there, but it's very sketchy, and it's also, it's almost an accident waiting to happen. And there's been a couple of occasions where I've been holding my breath a little bit, seeing drivers run too wide through there. We don't exactly know what's happened in this situation, of course, but there's a good chance that these two have come together during that high-speed section to end up over there on the left through Slottemacher on turn 6 before Skivlak. So hopefully those two are okay, but everything seemed to be grand. Just not a good race at all, is it, for Virtuosi? Because that's Emma Felbermayr, the third of our Virtuosi cars to hit trouble after Joseph Smith and Jarrett Clark have already had issues during this race. So a bit of a disaster for Virtuosi. They've still got George Proudford-Nalder up there in P5, almost making the move once again on Cameron Nelson at that restart. So watch out for him again later on, getting plenty of these safety car restarts, which is not what we necessarily wanted, but we're going to enjoy them when we get them, of course. And also, it looks like Alba Larsen was passed on that previous lap as well by Timo Jungling, so the Chris Dittman Racing driver dropping back a position. And of course, Alba's Chris Dittman Racing teammate, Daniela Sutton, is now out of this race as well. So not a great race for CDR either.
No, that means there must be some teams having good races, aren't there? Because there's a couple of teams having bad. Alba Larsen lost several positions, a couple of laps before the safety car as well. She was battling with Ethan Carney. Both of them were passed by Tommy Harfield at that point, who's also now ahead of Ethan Jeff Hall and up to 8. So Tommy Harfield's been progressing, but Alba Larsen's dropped down to 16th position. And Ethan Carney lost a place as well. So again, that happened off camera. There's quite a few incidents in various ways going on during the course of this race. None of that has affected Dries van Langendonck, who continues to lead. Scott Lindblom is there in second. Theo Palmer is third. Cameron Nelson fourth. He's getting close to trying again at getting an overall podium, and should he be able to achieve that, John, he will be the 20th different driver to finish on the podium in the championship this year.
Phenomenal, and not necessarily surprising given the small field spread we've seen in terms of pace. We talked about this after the first race. I think the whole field were spread by less than 2 seconds per lap if you just take into account the fastest lap set by each driver. So it just shows you how competitive this championship is, and we've got at least 20 drivers in this field that are very much capable of making their way through their motorsport career ladder. So it's great to see, and Cameron Nelson has been one of the standouts this weekend, definitely having his best weekend of the season, is the Welshman, and yeah, once again in position to fight for that podium. And of course, it could be a lot better, because Van Langendonck, Lindblom and Palmer, they've all been going at it all season. They're all, confident, experienced drivers relative to the rest of the field, and they're going to be going at it for this win. So expect fireworks, and Cameron Nelson could be there to pick up the pieces as well. But he's got to keep an eye in the mirror, because George Proudford-Nalder has been looking super racy, as we keep alluding to. Plus, you've got Ethan Lennon, the race 2 winner, just behind him there in P6. So still a lot to happen here in this one, of course, and we'll just have to see who comes out on top. But Van Langendonck certainly where the sensible money would be at the moment, given his composure throughout this weekend and, of course, the season.
Question marks whether we're going to get any more racing, because the Felbermayr car has been recovered, but the vehicle that lifts that I think will need to lift Daniela Sutton's car too, and for now it's dropping off Emma Felbermayr's car, so it's going to be a little while yet. I think that's a shame for Daniela Sutton, the 17-year-old Brit, another BRDC rising star. She also is an ambassador for juvenile arthritis research. That's something she suffered with as a youngster, and still does now, and I guess quite impressive really that she's even just able to drive one of these cars and drive one with great speed. As you say, that if you're at the back, you're still quick, a very quick driver because of the small field spread. She was a front runner last year in the Ford Fiesta Junior Championship as well, so this is her first year in single seaters, but she will be going no further in this race. So safety car will continue. The recovery vehicle is now with Daniela Sutton's car. So we might get another one-lap shootout at the end of this one, John.
There's certainly a chance, and we certainly hope so. I actually thought the previous race wouldn't restart, and it did. So I'm going to keep my fingers crossed. I'm sure all of you at home will be too, that we get at least one more lap of green flag action. I've just been looking back at some replays of the Lindblom and Jeff Hall incident just to try and ascertain what actually happened there. And yeah, it looks like the two of them went very much side by side out of the corner. Lindblom had the track position. Jeff Hall, just tried to keep his nose in there, maybe a little bit too late, and it's ended up with him being forced off the road. And I do think he may well have struck the Armco barrier as well, although he seems to be okay now, so it's difficult to tell what's happened there. But either way, just the two drivers coming together on the exit. It didn't look like Lindblom did anything crazy to force him off there, but Lindblom was just holding his ground, basically, had the track position, and Jeff Hall just tried to stick in the corner. So a bit of an unfortunate one between those two. We'll, of course, see if there are any repercussions for either driver after the race.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be looked at, because Motorsport UK, who run the British F4 Championship, keep up high standards of driving quality, so anything that where there is contact made will get looked into. So keep an eye on British F4 socials for any updates to anything that might happen post-race. We've seen mainly grid penalties for the next race so far this weekend, but we'll see if anything does come of that. Scott Lindblom will be hoping not, obviously. He's got a very good opportunity here to jump up to third in the championship, because he's only 3 points behind Jeff Hall, 4 points behind Palmer. Okay, Palmer's directly behind him here, but it's been a really good weekend this for Scott Lindblom. Silverstone was really the complete opposite 6 weeks ago or so, the other sort of headline event for British F4 of the season, where they were the main focus on the race weekend. So very different stories for Scott Lindblom 6 weeks ago at Silverstone to here at Zandvoort, and to be hoping to propel that through the second half of the season. As we head to Thruxton in a couple of weeks. All the competitors were testing there a few weeks ago. It's a circuit that probably needs quite a bit of learning, because it is so fast, the fastest circuit on the calendar. You're flat out for so much of it. Slipstreaming is a factor in the races, but so is being sort of stuck in the aero. It's so hard to keep close to people around Thruxton in current single-seaters, but looking forward to that trip in a couple of weeks' time to the south of England. Safety car lights are out, so we are going to get a restart. 1, maybe 2 laps, depending how quick Dries van Langendonck gets on with this. The fastest lap in the race so far has been a 1:39. There's currently 2 minutes and 6.5 left, so probably a one-lap shootout, unless van Langendonck goes really early. Anyway, here we go then for round 15 of the Wera Tools British F4 Championship. Van Langendonck went earlier than he did yesterday, and he's gone very early again. He doesn't want to catch a safety car. That's one thing he mustn't do. Beat the safety car back to the line, but again he's gone early and he's jumped away from Scott Lindblom. This weekend has been about being good on race restarts, and traditionally the race leader has been so, and particularly when that race leader is Dries van Langendonck. So he's going away. There's a challenge for third place, because Cameron Nelson, looking for his first podium, draws up alongside Theo Palmer as they turn their way up towards Tarzan. Round the outside comes Cameron Nelson. He draws up alongside. Theo Palmer is going to show him the exit of the road, though, very sharply. And Cameron Nelson's seen what happened in front of him to other drivers, so he backed out of that, but that could leave him vulnerable to George Proudford-Nalder behind as they turn their way through. I think Cameron Nelson's held on to 4th place, though.
Yeah, Palmer knew he was under the cosh immediately there off the restart, didn't he? He went defensive, obviously knew he hadn't got the great exit from turn 13 that he would have liked, and it was a great chance for Cameron Nelson, who did nose in front very briefly heading into turn 1, but then Palmer, late on the brakes, just ran Nelson wide on the outside of turn 1. So good, solid, but hard defence from Theo Palmer. Nelson will be happy he didn't lose the spot to Proudford-Nalder as well. So they continue as they were. More little lockups there. Joshua heading into the very tricky braking zone at turn 9. It is a trail braking corner, as you alluded to, so you're turning and braking at the same time, which is why we see such easy lockups there. But these tyres are pretty hard compound. They do deal quite well with these small micro lockups, and that's what you've seen here with these British Formula 4 cars. So not too much of a concern for the drivers.
So I think this is the final lap of the race, isn't it? As they turn their way up towards the S-Bend for the final time. Dries van Langendonck looking to become the first 4-time winner of the 2026 season, to extend his championship lead out to something like 45 points after round 15 of the championship. Through Arie Luijendijk then comes the 15-year-old Belgium superstar to be. Dries van Langendonck takes the checkered flag and wins round 15 of the Wera Tools British F4 Championship. Second goes the way of Scott Kin Lindblom. Third is Theo Palmer. Fourth is Cameron Nelson, again close to a podium, but not quite there. Fifth will be George Proudford-Nalder. Ethan Lennon is sixth. Seventh is Jaber Al-Shabar. Eighth is Tommy Harfield. Ethan Jeff Hall in ninth, and Ethan Carney completes the top 10. 3 Ethans in the top 10, obviously a popular name for this age of driver.
Yeah, there's been a lot of Ethans throughout this championship to keep track of anyway, and they've been doing pretty well. But no, great stuff from Dries van Langendonck there. Once again, textbook race, very similar to the first race, in fact. Obviously a shame we didn't get more green flag laps. We only had kind of bursts of 2 or 3 laps at any given moment. But van Langendonck did what he needed to do. He got good restarts. He made sure he got far enough ahead. He caught the pack by surprise and just drove a very, very sensible race to the win. Couldn't have really done much more there, could the Belgian. Scott Kin Lindblom will be delighted with P2 as well, I think, and Theo Palmer as well. Another podium. So that's 2 high-techs on the podium, but again, without a win, summarising how their season has been so far. It's really, really strong from them, but they will be very much hoping to get onto that top step. And it's another 4th place finish for Cameron Nelson, picking up P2 in the rookie standings as well for this particular race. He will be delighted with his weekend in that 22 car. Also saw a couple of very close finishes, didn't we? There was only 1/100th of a second over the line between Kit Belofsky and Leon Headforce further down the field for Fortec and Argenti. So some great racing throughout, lots of side-by-side action over the line, but ultimately it's Dries van Langendonck who will leave the happiest.
Quite an impressive parade going on at the moment, isn't it, of F4 cars making their way
Get your cameras
down.
out.
Extraordinary shot. Yes, absolutely. So quite an extraordinary shot that will make for any of the British F4 photographers around the back of the circuit. But it is a race win for Dries van Langendonck. Update on his championship rival, Lewis Wherrell, started 17th. He finished 17th. Here are the results. Dries van Langendonck won the 11-lap race by a second from Scott Kin Lindblom. Theo Palmer was third and Cameron Nelson fourth. George Proudford-Nalder in fifth ahead of Ethan Lennon. Jaber Al-Shabar, after a slower start, recovered to 7th ahead of Tommy Harfield. Ethan Jeff Hall, who went through the gravel, took 9th, and Ethan Carney, the last points finisher, in 10th ahead of Adam Al-Zahari and Matej Kobakhidze. He just prepared his car in time to take 12th. Timo Jungling was 13th. Chiara Bättig made progress up to 14th ahead of Alba Larsen, who had a moment mid-race. Cash Felber was 16th ahead of Lewis Wherrell, the Erst World Championship leader. 18th for Droyman Felbo. Carl Hewitson was next, and Henry Mercier 20th. Then Leon Headforce, Kit Belofsky, Jackson Walney and Sun Anze completed the top 24. And the other cars to make the checkered flag were Lubo Royakov, who had a pit stop, and Lloyd, who had an off, and Joseph Smith, who had dramas on the opening lap. So an instant field race. Several cars didn't make it home. Some damaged cars to be repaired ahead of Thruxton in Hampshire in a couple of weeks' time. A very different type of track to Zandvoort, but Dries van Langendonck will be really pleased to be heading there as the race winner, and he is delighted with that 4th victory of the year.
Yeah, you could see the adrenaline pumping there for the young Belgian. He was delighted, and so were his team members and family members down there in pit lane. So you will have a happy podium, I'm sure. Kin Lindblom and Palmer have got to be satisfied with second and third. The two of those guys have made big progress in the standings this weekend, closing in probably quite close to Lewis Wherrell now after the results this weekend. but Palmer and Lindblom will move ahead of Jeff Hall throughout the weekend as well in the points. So great stuff from High Tech. There's your race winner, Van Langendonck. Hugs all round for the team, and they will be delighted with how things have gone for Roden. That's, of course, 3 wins for Roden Motorsport today, with Ethan Lennon taking the win in race 2. A Roden Motorsport clean sweep. They will be delighted.
Yeah, that's going to be bringing them very close to High Tech in the team standings, won't it? Again, keep an eye on British F4 social media with all the updates to the official points standings. But one thing we know for sure is Dries van Langendonck has overhauled what was a small margin and made it a pretty big margin in his benefit, heading out of Zandvoort circuit. And a reminder that all rounds of the British F4 Championship internationally will be live streamed throughout the rest of the season, and the races will be able to be seen in full post-event. Saturdays will be live streamed in the UK as well, with Sunday events going forward. The rest of the year will be part of the ITV coverage of the British Touring Car Championship and support, beginning with Thruxton in 2 weeks' time. Donington Park becomes next in August. That'll be probably quite something for Dries van Langendonck, because that's where he started his car racing career 1 year ago, when he got pole position on his 15th birthday. Croft returns to British F4 this year in September. We didn't go there last year. And then the traditional end of the season with the home of British Motorsport, Silverstone Circuit and the Brands Hatch Grand Prix Circuit to complete the season. I think we are ready to catch up with our race winner and the championship leader. Dries van Langendonck is down with Ben.
Well, there we go. It's a Roden hat-trick here at Zandvoort. And, of course, 2 wins for Dries van Langendonck. I mean, I'm running out of words for you, sir, but that was quite a tough one. Obviously, you had to make that start pretty critical, but obviously a few safety cars as well. Talk us through your race.
Yeah, not the easiest of race, a lot of safety cars. My start wasn't very good as well. It was quite close off the line. Which, yeah, I mean, still got in the lead, which was the most important. But, yeah, definitely wasn't an easy race on the execution part. So, yeah, I mean, safety car restarts were pretty consistent and pretty good as well. So, yeah, really happy with the results at the end of the day. I think the team really deserves a hat-trick. So, yeah, keep moving like this.
I mean, talking of the team, obviously you've won 2. Ethan Lennon won the middle race as well. What's it about Zandvoort that just clicked for Roden this weekend?
I mean, I guess we've always been quite strong here, so yeah, and then obviously my home race gave me maybe a little bit of confidence boost, and Ethan put the race good together in race 2, so yeah, I think great execution by the whole team, and yeah, like I said, they deserve this.
Championship lead now, back onto your shoulders, heading to Thruxton. Is that a circuit you enjoy?
It's okay. I don't mind trucks, and I think the racing is going to be really interesting through there, with a lot of high-speed corners and a lot of straights. So yeah, it's going to be a tricky one. I think that one is just trying to get back in some points, and yeah, for sure it's going to be interesting. But happy to be in the lead again.
Enjoy the celebrations. Well done on another win, Dries van Langendonck, the winner of the final race, the feature race here at Zandvoort. I'm just going to bring in Scott Kin Lindblom. Another podium, Scott. You must be happy with that. Obviously 3rd in the first race, 2nd here.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's been a good week, and we've been grabbing a lot of points, so I'm definitely happy with that. Quite a massive race, I think, but I mean, still P2, and I mean, 18 points on the board. I think it's a very good job, and obviously the team and myself has done a very good job this week. So yeah, I'm very happy with it.
And obviously the restarts are so difficult. Obviously towards the front, you've got to watch from behind, but also you want to try and get the man in front of you as well. What was your mindset in those? Was it kind of, do you think you did the best you could with those restarts?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I tried my best, but it slipped away slightly, and then with the dirty air last corner, just lost a bit on exit. But yeah, no, yeah, I mean, you're really just trying to keep up with P1. So I just tried to react as quickly as I could to Dries. But obviously, yeah, wasn't slightly good enough, you could say. But yeah, no, I'm still happy with P2.
Moving on to Thruxton next, is that a circuit you're looking forward to?
I mean, yeah, I'm looking forward to every round really, but yeah, no, we'll see what we can do there, and hopefully we can replicate the results we've done here and hopefully get a win.
Building that momentum, of course, because you're moving up into the championship as well, so not a bad weekend, not a bad points all. Would you have taken that coming into this one?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't really thought about, getting this results, getting these. I mean, it's just about doing as well as possible with the weekend, really. And yesterday we qualified quite well, and then we could grab a lot. Well, then I knew I could grab a lot of points in these races.
Awesome, congratulations. Got another piece of silverware going back to Sweden and to High Tech as well. So many congratulations. We'll bring in your teammate as well, Theo Palmer. Well, it's good to see you again here on the rostrum. P3 this time. Are you happy with that?
Yeah, of course. It's good points as well. I had a good start from race 1. It was a good improvement. But I was just setting to my own race and making sure I kept P3 and not falling back.
Was there anything you could do? Obviously, Scott further ahead, or you kind of, to be fair, your wing mirrors were pretty full with Cam Nelson. Like, he was looking pretty racy. That must have been tough on the couple of restarts you had to do.
Yeah, he was racy, but I just kept my head cool and defended well, so he couldn't get past. But I was trying to stay with Scott, so if he made a mistake, I was on him to launch an attack,
Awesome. Thruxton next circuit you enjoy, is that one you're looking forward to? Could we see a first win for Theo Palmer and for High Tech maybe?
Yeah, I love Thruxton. It's a place I'm good at. The slipstream's very powerful, so we'll see what happens.
Awesome. Many congratulations. Another piece of silverware. Can't complain of that, can you?
No, of course not. It's nice. Yeah.
Enjoy. Safe trip home as well. Thank you very much, Theo. So we've got time maybe for Cameron Nelson. Yeah, let's bring in. We have to speak to this man because first of all, top of the rookie step.
Thank you.
But also your best finish as well, and nearly just shy of the overall podium. Sum up your race.
Yeah, it was boring and eventful, obviously, with the safety cars. It hampers it a little bit, but to be at the front and fighting for those podium spots, it's nice.
Absolutely. And does it bring you on as a driver? You're obviously fighting with different set of drivers, learning kind of how they move as well. Yeah. Is that a lot to take in?
Yeah. I mean, it's rewarding to be up there, as well as it's a big learning thing to fight with them.
Awesome. Many congratulations, Cam. The podium is calling. Another piece of silverware.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Cameron Nelson. And there we go. Zandvoort, what an experience. Josh, John, go and sum it up.
Thanks, Ben. Yeah, I think the drivers did a good job at summing up that wasn't really the race I think anyone was hoping for with the safety cars. But I guess, John, at the end of the day, you have to react to what the race brings to you. And for Dries van Langendonck, it seems to be whatever you throw at him, he's able to come up with the challenge.
Exactly that. Yeah, it's been a bit part sort of race, and to be honest, it's been like that all weekend. It's been a tough watch at times for that. That's frustrating. But as a driver, you have to try and keep your head cool and make the most of the situation that's going on around you. I'm sure Thruxton will also see some fantastic action, and we'll have some crazy races there as well, which you can all tune in to ITV for, and it's going to be fantastic. But yeah, Van Langendonck was the man who kept his cool and picks up the points. He should now have a near 50-point lead, I would believe, over Lewis Wherrell heading into Thruxton. So it's sort of back to where he was earlier in the season with a commanding lead. And obviously, as you say, Theo Palmer and Kin Lindblom have picked up the points very well this weekend, and the two of those guys should be very closely matched for third and fourth in the drivers' standings, just ahead of Ethan Jeff Hall, who should drop to fifth following that race. Of course, you can check out the website fiaformula4.com/standings to keep up to date with all of the updated drivers' championship standings and the Rookies' Cup and the team standings as well, once they're updated in the coming days. So yeah, it's been great here at Zandvoort. It's been good fun. Obviously, it's been a shame that some of the races have been so interrupted by the safety cars, but that is how it goes sometimes. And hopefully we can get some more exciting action again at Thruxton.
Yeah, it's interesting that Dries and Scott seemed a bit apprehensive about how Thruxton might go. Two drivers have not raced there before, but whereas Theo Palmer has been at Thruxton before and was very much looking forward to the challenge. So I'm looking forward to being there, part of the Toka Live trackside crew for the radio coverage. And John, I hope you've enjoyed being part of the F4 broadcast for the first time this weekend.
Yeah, I certainly have. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks to all of you at home for watching, and it's been great to be alongside you in the box, Joshua. Much appreciated, and thanks to the whole team. And yeah, I was with you actually on that Thruxton call, by the way. I noticed that Palmer seemed very excited. The other two were just a little bit cautious about their words, weren't they? They were carefully picked. So maybe we'll see a Theo Palmer and high-tech victory with that sort of confidence, but let's wait and see. It's been a pleasure, Josh. Thanks.
Thanks, John. So whether you're going to join us trackside at Thruxton in a couple of weeks or on the British F4 YouTube page or on ITV, we look forward to seeing you at Thruxton with more exciting racing from the Wera Tools British F4 Championship.